And welcome back, everybody, to this year's first edition of Unapologetically Black and Fast. As a reminder, this is going to be a new recurring Hotfix show that we're doing every February, and I've seen a couple people bring it up in chat too. You can be rest assured there will be more exceptional blackness coming down the pipeline. Don't you worry your pretty little faces. If you like the stuff that we're doing here, make sure you follow us over on YouTube at youtube.com/gamesdonequick. And then if you have the means to, any type of subs and bits that you give to the channel, it helps us out. It keeps the channel running, it keeps things moving. One other thing I want to remind everybody as well, if you're really enjoying the marathon runs that we're doing, we're going to be doing some Frost Fatales February 27th to March 5th. And you can use !FF in chat or go to gamesdonequick.com/framefatales to get a little bit more information about those things. So, hopefully everyone is hydrated and ready for some radical speed in Freedom Planet 2. And I want to go ahead and introduce everybody to SJHDoesGames and their commentator. SJH, tell us about what you're doing today.
All right. Oh, hi, everybody. My name is Sean, but you can call me SJ. I am today going to be doing a run of the Freedom Planet 2 demo that is currently available on Steam. I believe it's version 1.0.7. I'm going to basically just be doing a run through with every single character that is currently available. So that's Lilac, Carol, Mila, and newly available for this game, Nira. We're just gonna kind of keep it casual, do it on normal difficulty, and this is just more of like kind of like a route that I was kind of like planning out myself. So it is not fastest, but it is what I consider most artistically and in control for kind of like what I do. And then of course, on commentary, I have Sabrina, who is one of the developers from Galaxy Trail, who makes Freedom Planet and Freedom Planet 2.
Hello.
I really just love the super soft hello that's just right behind it. It's like huge blurb. And then here's the dev. Hi. I'm here, it's me. All right, well then, SJ, whenever you're ready, you can go ahead and count down and we'll get started.
Alrighty, so then let me navigate over then, and then we'll get to it. So we're starting with Lilac. We're gonna literally just kind of go in carousel order. So Lilac first, then Carol, then Mila, and then Nira. So our count is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and action.
Excellent, wonderful. So with it being said too, we're both gonna be doing a little bit of commentary back and forth here. And as it's been pointed out in chat, this game is not out yet. This game isn't out yet. And Sabrina, I wanted to take a moment and ask you, a lot of people are looking forward to Freedom Planet 2. For the people who are like me, children of freedom, do we know when it's gonna be coming out? In the general time frame, of course, the general time frame.
Well, we have recently announced that it's coming out in the spring this year.
Awesome. Love that. Love that. And I know a lot of people are really looking forward to it. For those of you who don't know, and this is your first time seeing it, Freedom Planet, I believe, started originally as it wasn't quite like a fan project that was kind of similar to Sonic the Hedgehog and whatnot, but it is very similar in the gameplay, with the exception of being able to kick butt as lots of cool film characters in the game. So the first thing that I really wanted to kind of highlight here was Lilac in the second game has a whole new design aesthetic, completely overhauled design, but then on a more important tangent, we've got a lot of different mechanics going on here. So can you speak a little bit, Sabrina, to how we kind of polished and updated Lilac's mechanics as compared to her in Freedom Planet 1?
Yes, of course. It's kind of funny you mentioned that, because Lilac, I think, has changed the least of the 4 playable characters, but she has a few key additions that I think make her more fun. And one of them is this move called the Boost Breaker. In the first game, when you Dragon Boosted, you were committed to it, and like sometimes you'd find yourself going like too fast or missing certain targets. But in the second game, you can press the boost button a second time, and she will stop and create an explosion. So I think that makes it a lot more versatile, and it makes it especially useful in close quarters combat.
Very nice, very nice. I'm also just watching a little bit of SJ's gameplay too, because you can see that a little bit when he's in the middle of the actual Dragon Boost. and then just kind of regaining control. So it's really, really amplifying that movement that we're going to be seeing a lot more of once we get the full build. And I can't wait to see people tear things up with Lilac, because I think she was probably my favorite speedrun when I was running this many, many moons ago.
Yeah, for sure. One of the other new mechanics that's shared across all of the characters is the guard button, which is basically a parry. And each character has a slightly different parry. And for Lilac, if you hold it down, she will blink forward a little bit.
Yeah, I was using it a little bit earlier during that first spring haul, way at the start of it, to come out of the bottom of it and then boost through in order to kind of regain some of the speed, because I have to slow down just a little to take it when I'm doing that first one, and so to get some of it back, I usually boost through.
Yeah, this boss in particular, since it has 2 weak points, one on each hand, it's quite possible to deplete one of its entire health bars with 1 dragon boost. What I usually like to do is I like to jump until I'm overlapping a weak point, and then I charge the dragon boost, and that does damage.
Yeah.
And then the boost itself does damage, and then the boost breaker does even more damage.
Which is actually something that you can kind of sort of see implemented originally in the first game, if I recall correctly, because there's a boss in there, I believe it's the Mantis boss, that you can actually do something very, very similar and break both of his hands before he actually starts up. So it's dope that there's a throwback to it, but then additionally, having like that additional clean mechanic, I think that's going to be really, really nice for speedrunners and really crispy. And with that being said, we have the first run done. So Lilac, first board, already finished. SJ, you out here showing everybody how to do the thing.
Yeah, so yeah, like this character, to sort of like, since we have a little bit of time in the down before we switch over, Lilac was the first person that I figured out the route that I took in the first place, mostly because Dragon Boost makes it easy to sort of take that top route and skip a lot of the slingshot binds and like vertical navigation that you do in the first part of the level. There are ways to do that faster that I didn't learn until after I kind of already mapped things out, but by then the top route was kind of like where I had the most stability and the nice balance between like mechanical difficulty and actually kind of like keeping my speed up. When we get to both Carol and Mila, the boss is going to get really, really, really messed up. It's going to be great in like the best possible way.
Yeah, we've been taking a lot of feedback from testers and streamers and people who've played the demo over the years. And this demo actually is a few years old now, and there have been quite a few like refinements to each character. Lilac, for example, in this demo, her Dragon Boost has a speed cap, but we removed the speed cap since then. So now if you're like going downhill at Lilac's top speed and you Dragon Boost, you'll go even faster instead of staying the same speed.
Ooh. Ender. All right.
SJ, don't be getting no ideas. You live right now. You can't be out here experimenting. All right.
No, I'm not that wild.
All right, so tell us about the second person that you're about to run here.
All right, so with Carol, the main thing to kind of like keep in mind is that unlike Lilac, she's not like super built for speed normally. One of her kind of core mechanics that y'all will get to see partway through the run is all I have to say is we're gonna ride a motorcycle, and the zooms are going to be real, and I'm gonna leave it at that because part of it is I also want Sabrina to be able to kind of like talk about one of the big changes about how that whole thing works, because I think it's really crucial to how this game has kind of like opened up the routing a lot more in ways that Freedom Planet 1 didn't really have the opportunity to. And it's one of the things I'm really excited about with this game in specific when running Carol.
Yeah, like in the original Freedom Planet, it was commonly it's like pretty much unanimous among speedrunners that Carol is the weakest character and like the most difficult to run. Basically because a lot of her best abilities are dependent on the environment. Like you need to find a gas canister before you can ride the motorcycle, and she can't use her warp without jump pads. But that's all changed in the sequel.
Yep.
So for example, instead of having to find jump pads scattered throughout the stages, she has her own portable jump pad which is like a flying disc that she can throw, and which basically gives her a projectile attack now.
Yeah. So I'll count us in again, and y'all will basically literally get to see that in like the first 5 to 10 seconds of the run, because it's how I get to the top route. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So right here, I just jumped. I missed it.
I feel like the disc edition is probably my favorite thing that's coming out of this, because I was also doing this a little bit with SJ, and that was actually really nice. That was actually really, really nice. I was playing this a little bit offline and then with SJ as well, and it was just, once I realized that I had the disc and I could bounce to it, I was like, oh, it's a wrap. I'm running Carol now. I'm a Carol main. I main Carol, and there's nothing else you can do about it. So you said...
Yeah, and one of the other cool things is that you can throw the disc in 8 different directions, which basically makes it act as both a forward speed boost or like a triple jump.
Yeah, and it's really cool too that you can kind of transition in and out of using the motorcycle while you're doing that. I accidentally discovered that when I was playing against the boss fight, and when that happened, I was like, oh, I have to main Carol now. I just don't have a choice. Because I remember in Freedom Planet 1 distinctly that the disc didn't exist at all. You just kind of got your bike, you prayed that you got gas to keep your bike going, and if you didn't keep your bike going, then you prayed that you found another way to get it. But I feel like with that additional utility, it's really gonna like change up how you play her on a very, very like deep level. Because the other thing about it that I don't know if it got highlighted, I'm not 100% sure, but another thing that's really important is that when you throw that disc, that also counts as hits, if I recall correctly.
Yeah,
and
that's correct.
So it's just, I feel like the Carol run is going to be really interesting. Oh, now that was cute. Hold on a second. That was super cute. The flip on the ladder? No, that was kind of hype. I'm not going to front. That was extremely hype. Oh, wow.
The other thing too is that in the first game, her bike could only be hit 3 times while on her motorcycle before it broke. But in this game, the bike has unlimited health, so you don't like break it or anything.
Oh, the hell!
And like pressing the jump disc button while you're riding a bike will throw the bike and put it in storage, and then you can pull it out whenever you want.
Yeah, and we just saw SJ did that a little bit there as he's moving back up to more of the high route. So I've also noticed that SJ's been saying the high route. Are you subscribing to the same kind of level ideology as the Sonic games, where top route is going to be the fast route, middle route is just kind of neutral, and then bottom route is for just to take things a little bit slower?
Generally speaking, yes. In most cases, because gravity is what makes it difficult to get to the top route. But in some stages, it kind of gets flipped around.
Awesome.
So it depends on the level design, and it depends on what character you're using, which route is faster.
Ooh, so that means the top route for one character may not be the best route for another character.
Yeah.
And I also...
Yeah, Carol absolutely wrecks this boss.
And then, I see the hype in chat too, because I'm also really hyped about Undying Bite, because if I have all-time access to Zoom Zooms, yeah. And then you can see too, SJ, did you want to go ahead and add some comments about what's going on in this fight and why Carol is rocking this boss?
Yeah, so for me in particular, like the way that I kind of like map it out is, functionally speaking, at least for this level, the time save either is on level side or boss side. For Carol, it's boss side, because when you throw the disc, provided that you aim it at one of the claws, it will stay and it will hit and it will just keep on hitting. And the recharge time is relatively low, such that you can basically keep throwing it over and over and over again and basically shred through very, very quickly in that sense. So basically, even though I wasn't able to do it quite as well as I would have liked here, there is a part of this boss where even while it's still rolled up, you can throw the disc at it anyway and like start getting hits early. So yeah, Carol shred this boss in particular, shreds, easy game, like no joke.
Yeah, I'm real hype about the Carol changes.
It's kind of funny because up until recently, in the beta version among our testers, it was commonly agreed on that Carol needed some buffs. So since this demo, we've made it so that throwing the jump disc will slow her descent. just in case like you're falling down like a large vertical shaft and you throw the disc. In this demo, you would drop past the disc and it would disappear, but we've changed that so that like her momentum slows, so that you can use it more strategically during like vertical boss fights.
Yeah, I can definitely see how that would be helpful, because there was a thing where, and it's not as easy to see because my controller has been like hidden from view, obviously, but I did actually double map the special button explicitly so that I would drop less of the disc jumps, because I would have that issue where it's like, oh yeah, it's really high off screen and now I can't jump to it, and the run, and I would start crying. But you know, these things happen.
Yeah, so she'll be way more consistent in the full version.
I'm looking very much forward to that. But yeah, like in the overall, like I was saying before, like at least for me with this particular version of the run, it's one of those things where I sort of treat it as my time save has to be on the boss and not on the level. Because in this particular version of the game, right, like even with the jump disc kind of like giving mobility and things like that, some of the there are some parts of this that, unlike Lilac, like Carol can't quite boost past, but then the compensation is with strategic use of disc throw to bike ride, and then just riding walls. You all saw that there were sections where I was probably just doing some jumps, I'd ride a wall, keep going, throw, get on the bike again, ride a wall, keep going. That's where her time saves kind of like come in. And that's sort of one of the things that I think I said this earlier that I like about how each character is sort of beginning to have their own way through levels in a way that feels a lot more consistent in this game. Because it's like, okay, yeah, like I can literally just like, I get one bike, I just start riding walls, and that's how I start getting my time cuts in spaces where if I was doing Lilac, I'd be doing lots of dragon boosting instead, or things like that. And I just kind of like...
Yeah, with Carol's wall running, vertical levels naturally she excels in.
Yeah, and I really like the kind of feel of that. So next up, we've got Mila. And with Mila's run in particular, I think to kind of just like herald it before I count it in, mostly for Mila, I focus on control more than like running speed in the actual level itself. Because for me at least, again, she's one of those characters where for me, her time save comes from when I get to the boss and just shrekking the boss. It's pretty much how that goes. So you'll see what I mean in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So out of the original 3 girls, Mila has changed the most by far.
Oh, yeah.
In the original game, she was kind of a glass cannon where her main attack, she needed to spend time charging. But as you can see, her guard makes her summon a cube immediately. And her cube augments her melee attacks with a super shield burst. And she can also fire individual projectiles with it as well.
I think another thing that people don't realize about Melia in particular is that not only was she a glass cannon in the first game, but she was also very much like, it was very obvious she was combat adverse to a degree, because she didn't really have a lot of kicks and punches and whatnot. She had the shield, she had her laser beam that people have used in Freedom Planet 1 to move very swiftly, and then she has her floating mechanic. She's the only one in the game that has a floating mechanic. And then, just to confirm, does she have her digging mechanic again?
She does, but currently it's just for show. But that might change later. But it's really interesting because in the first game's speedrun meta, Mila is by far the fastest character. It's because of the way that speedrunners have been able to consistently charge and release her super shield bursts. And as you can see here, firing a super shield burst backwards gives you a boost of speed. And it's just very easy for her in the second game to chain these together to almost immediately reach the maximum speed.
And you could...
So she's still like pretty much... like among our testers, it's agreed upon that she's still the fastest.
Yeah, and you can see here that SJ is using that beam and, like, I don't want to say abusing it, but definitely putting in a lot of heavy lifting with it, because you're getting the boost to push back, which gives you some forward momentum, but we're also seeing for ledges that we're not quite making it to, pushing down to get some upward momentum. And then even in some cases where SJ is aware that he has to go to the bottom level, he's pushing the laser up and just going down faster. So I think that Delia's entire, like I almost want to say it's an entire overhaul of her kit is really, really, really great. And I really have been enjoying playing her and feeling like she's a lot more survivable as a result. Because she just has like much more versatility with this setup, I feel.
Yeah, because she's got the same potential as in the first game from a speedrunning standpoint, but now she's a lot more accessible to casual players. And as you can see, the 25% of the boss's health is already gone.
She just...
Her cube blaster shots do a lot of damage if you can rapid fire them. You can basically fire them as fast as your finger can go.
Yeah. And like it's really funny because if you follow the story of the game, at least in the first one, Melia is like the super cute, the innocent, and she's just like, I just want to hang out with my friends. And when you learn how to play her, like you actually get accustomed to her, she is dangerous. Like she is absolutely just violent. But it's kind of like cute but deadly aesthetic.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I will say in the second game story, that is like her personality in the second game story is much more reflective of how powerful she is in gameplay.
Ooh, and see, and we don't have any story stuff yet, so that's almost like that's teaser content right there. It's like, what do you mean it's different? But I'm not gonna say that we're gonna put all the cookies out there since we're doing the showcase today.
Yeah, you can kind of see hints of it in some of the trailers that we've shown over the years. Like we've shown like some snippets of cutscenes, and she kind of like is kind of like a mad scientist type almost.
Ooh. All right. But yeah, to sort of like do my closing end run commentary. Yeah, so like I said, with Mila, mostly I aim for control, and a lot of it was like a lot of like the Q boosting stuff. But it's because exactly like Sabrina pointed out, like basically once you start matching that, like yeah, easy clear. It is, for that reason in particular, once I picked up Mila's particular routing through the area that I chose, that was when I really began to sort of like grasp sort of the intricacy of like, yeah, no, approach each of these characters differently because each of them will have a time save at a different spot in the level overall. And that was where I was really like, okay, yeah, now I really kind of see where we're cooking here. And I really, really like how this is going and where this is going, and the hype just kind of keeps increasing. So yeah.
Well, thank you.
All right, so we have...
Yeah, I will say that since this demo, we've made a change to Mila so that, because in this demo, you need a cube in order for her to fire projectiles. And after that, she just gets like a short-range shield stab. But we've changed that since then so that she fires weaker lasers if you don't have a cube charged, which allows her to have a ranged attack at all times.
So now we have the final character of the run, and this is the one that I think is going to be the most interesting because if you played Freedom Planet 1, Nira was not a playable character. As a matter of fact, she was an antagonist. And so...
Yes, that's correct.
And so I think the big burning question we have to all know is what made you decide that she was going to be the fourth character, and what aspects of her boss kit carried over into her new playable kit?
Well, when we were coming up with the new redesigns for all the characters, Nira's redesign really stuck out to me. Tyson Ted did an amazing job with her, and I guess that kind of inspired me. And I also felt like she had been popular enough in the first game. Like, other than the main girls, she was the character that probably got the most fan art. So I could tell she was going to be a popular choice. And I really started thinking about how her ice-based powers would give her a lot of like versatility and uniqueness compared to the other characters. So from there, we've kind of like brainstormed how she could be kind of a power type character.
Cool. And so I know that some fans are also going to ask, does that mean that we can expect something like Spade and Torque to come back, or are they going to be shelved and this is going to be the all-girl show now?
These are the only playable characters in the game.
It is the all-girl show. See, I support this, but that's just me.
I mean, I'm not protesting either. Listen,
Yeah.
Ladies' Night, I ain't gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna enjoy the ride. You know?
The other thing too is that in the story, generally speaking, all four of these girls are usually in the same place at the same time. Whereas with a character like Spade, he's always off doing his own things, and a character like that would require too much of their own unique content.
Makes sense. Alrighty, so then let's get this last one underway.
Oh, it is. Is that better?
Alrighty, then let's get to it. Alright. So, hop, clean. So yeah, for me in particular, and this is why Nira took me kind of like the longest to figure out, the double jump. And once I sort of understood sort of the vagaries of like how to use it and sort of just like use it in like gentle ways like that to sort of help boost me forward in combination with this nice little spear spin here. That's how I got like the first, the top route going once I actually figured out I could do that. And then for a long time, I was having trouble with getting her a little bit more vertical reach for situations like this. Then I discovered that, and I messed it up a little bit, so let me see if I can get it. Hang on.
Yeah, Nira's main gimmick is that she has directional-based attacks, where she has a different attack, whether you're holding forward, up, or down.
Yep. And so, yeah, somebody, I remember in my chat was joking about like Smash Brothers inputs. Not inaccurate, honestly. So in a funny way, it's a little bit like a Homecoming. I wouldn't say that I'm like super good at Smash Brothers, but like it's close enough that it's like no difference either way. Just come here.
Yeah, and her guard has an aura effect, where it increases the speed of her attacks, which can come especially in handy when you're using her forward stab as a mobility option. And that's one of the things that we decided to change after this demo too. Like in this demo, the aura effect only lasts 2 seconds, but we've increased that to 8 seconds.
Ooh, oh, that's spicy. All right.
Yeah, because in practice, speedrunners who were using Nira weren't actually using the aura effect that much. So the 8-second increase is more of a benefit to like casual players who might struggle to land some of her attacks. Because her attacks are very strong, but they also have a lot of startup time. So you need to be careful with your timing in order to properly hit fast-moving enemies. And the aura effect helps with that.
That makes total sense to me. Spin here.
I have to echo something that somebody in chat said. The ice effect when she's like skating by is easily one of my favorite little details in the world. Like, I don't even care if it doesn't do anything. It's just the fact that the ice is on the ground and it's like, well, how much are we zooming? We zoom in this much. We give an Iceman a run for his money.
Yeah, I like that a lot too, because I was thinking about how she could catch up to the other characters, because it's not like immediately obvious that she shares their ground speed. So I'm thinking like she should just point her staff at the ground like a hockey stick and summon ice to slide on.
You heard it here first. Low-key confirmed, Nira is actually a hockey player.
Hey. I mean, the way I just shoulder checked that boss, I'd believe it. So yeah, closing run commentary as far as like Nira's for me. Nira also I sort of treat as like a control character over a speed character insofar as like how I classify it. So a lot of it is like strategic and careful use of the horizontal spins to sort of like gain speed where I can. And then the boss fight is kind of like an in the middle sort of thing for me, mostly because that horizontal spin again is much like with Lilac Dragon Boosts I found out, really useful for like popping all the spheres on the boss at the same time if you're able to read the directions correctly. That is probably the best that I have done this boss fight as Nira in November, I think, question mark. So GDQ saw it first, I guess. TM.
I mean, and we're gonna see plenty more of it too, because the Freedom Planet fan base is thriving, wonderful, and fun. And like I said, we have one of the channel favorites who's very invested, is the always lovely and always hyperactive Argic, who is going to be looking for this, I'm pretty sure, as soon as it comes out. And so maybe you'll have to show him the ropes on how to get the run up and running. I don't know. I'm not trying to tell you that that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying you might get an inbox message from Argic saying, hey, let me get some of those tips right quick. So with that being said, I did want to go ahead and say thank you so much. Oh, we can go ahead and say time. Just, you got to say the word. You got to say time.
Oh, yeah. Yep, and that's time.
Bam. I was say we got to get you the green bar. I did want to just go ahead and say thank you so much, SJ, for showcasing the demo of the first level of Freedom Planet 2. Highly anticipated. Lots of people who've been following the game have been waiting for this, and now that we know this is coming out spring 2022, get hyped, get ready for some more of that freedom. Sabrina, I also want to take a moment to say thank you so much for stopping by and giving us a little bit of insider game dev commentary about the game and getting people hyped up about what they're getting ready to do and enjoy in this upcoming title.
Yes, thank you for having me, and my thanks goes out to all of our fans who have been so patient over the years. We are very excited to be reaching the finish line soon.
Oh,
I bet. Even just last year, the thought that we would actually be this far in would have been unthinkable to me, but now we see the light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm so grateful.
Awesome. I'm really excited for you too. And then SJ, can you let everybody know where they can find you and a little bit more about yourself before we head out of here?
Okay, so to blurb it up very quickly, again, hi, my name is Sean. You can call me either that or SJ. I make games, I play games. Games make do, basically, is kind of my thing. On my Twitch stream, Fridays, we usually play fighting games, talk strategy, sort of look into how we're going to be doing that. Next Friday is going to be King of Fighters 15, because that's dropping. Sunday, I will be running my third of this upcoming Sunday even. I will be running my next set of Sonic the Hedgehog charity fundraising for Color of Change for Black History Month, so feel free to stop by. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I'm also SJHDoesGames over there. I just want to share with people the stuff that I do, the things that I do, thoughts about game design, yelling and occasionally posting nonsense on Twitter. So feel free to join me and join my community, the Gage Gangs. We'll be happy to have you.
Alright, again, thank you so much both of you for this absolutely fantastic and super hyped showcase. I'm super hyped about Freedom Planet 2. I don't know about the rest of chat. Hopefully this showcase helped change your mind and swayed you towards the way of freedom. I highly encourage that you do so. It's a fantastic game. We're going to take a couple of minutes to get everything set up for our next showcase. It's going to be our next speed run. And you already know the drill at this point. I've told it to you a couple of times. If you're not doing it, you need to start doing it. Get up, stretch, get yourself a drink, grab yourself a snacky poo, and then make sure that you're settled in for some Super Castlevania 4. We'll be back in a couple of moments.